So hello guys, today we are going to build this chat application. So this is the part of our social applications. So this is our social applications, and this chat feature or this chat applications is part of our applications. Here we can send a message and our another user got a message in a real time. So if you want to build this chat applications, you can subscribe to the channel. And if are new viewers on this channel, go in a GitHub, download my previous project about this social app. Maybe you are not interested to build entire applications, and if you are interested to build this entire application, then go and watch my previous video. And if you don't want to work and if you want to build only a chat feature, then go on descriptions, download this GitHub file, then change the so you need to add your own MongoDB URL to connect with the database. And in order to send our mail, you need to write a mailtrap.io. Go in this mailtrap.io and you can use this mailtrap to verify email. Let's go and try to build this application. So in order to create our chat page, what we need to do is we need to create our one folder. So our folder name is chat, and inside this chat, what I'm going to do is let's write a chat.js, and let's create a component. So we need two components. So first component is contact, and the second was chat container. So in our contact, what I'm going to do is let's create our contacts.js. Paste it here, and instead of this, let's write chat, and here I'm going to import our chat. Okay, so now let's write a chat here. Yeah, so we got this. So now here I'm going to import our nav. Here I'm going to create one div, and inside this div I'm going to write to container. Let's give it a style, so our display will be flex. Okay, so let's go here. It's work. So now let's give it a class name, which is main contact container. Let's save this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create our CSS. So let's import our CSS. So now let's go in our chat container, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. So let's write a chat container.css. And let's import our CSS. So let's give it a class name. So our class name will be main chat container. Let's save this, and let's copy this class name, and I'm going to give it a style. So let's write our flex, which is maybe 2.8. I'm going to create one div, and inside this div what I'm going to do is I'm going to write another div, and inside this div I'm going to write my input type. or input. Yeah, so let's write a search, and let's write a placeholder. So placeholder will be search your friends. Search your friends. Let's go back. Okay, now let's go in our CSS. So let's write a background color, which is black. Let's give it a class name. So our class name will be search bar for contact. Let's copy this, and before that, what I'm going to do is let's write a style here. So let's copy this search bar for contact. So let's give it a width. So width will be 15 pc. Yeah, so let's give it a height. So height will be 4 vh. Yeah, let's give it a border radius 10 pixel. Yeah, so maybe width, we need to increase our width, so let's give it a 17. Yeah, so let's go back, but before that, what I'm going to do is let's write border will be none. Yeah, so let's go back again. Padding 10 pixel. So let's go back in our contact, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my height. Instead of 4, I'm going to write it 5, and I'm going to increase this width, so let's write 18 or maybe 19. Yeah, so 19 would be enough. So let's give it a height. I'm going to write a 100 vh. Yeah, so after this search div, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another div, and inside this div I'm going to write another div, and here let's write our image, and let's write one div, and here we need to write our username, which is madankd, and here we need to write open your message text. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to import my image. So let's import our profile image from image slash, let's copy this profile name, so let's write a profile, and let's give it a class name. So our class name will be chat user image. Let's save this. I'm going to copy this. Let's write our width. So our width will be maybe 100 pixel. Okay, so 100 pixel would be more for this, so let's give it a 20, and let's give it a height. Height will be 20 vh. Oh no, 20 pic. Okay, so let's give it a 50, and let's write a 50. Yeah, so let's give it a border radius, which is 50%, and let's write a object feed, which is cover. Yeah, so now let's go back, and let's give it a style. So let's write a color, which is white. I'm going to copy this and paste it into our open message text. Okay, so now Let's give it a class name, user container, and here let's write our display will be flex. Yeah, and let's write our text align, which is star, and let's write a text align, which is starred. Let's write a margin top, which is 0 pixel. Let's give it a margin top. Okay, so I'm going to decrease my font size. So our font size will be 16 pixel. Okay, so 15 pixel. Yeah. So now I'm going to do the same thing for our open your masses text. Okay, so let's write a font size, which is 14 pixel. So our margin top will be 5 pixel maybe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease this profile image. So instead of 50, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a 45 and 45. Yeah, and let's write a margin left, which is 10 pixel, and let's write a margin left, which is 15 or 16, I don't know. So let's give it a 15, or let's write a 18 pixel. Yeah, so 18 pixel would be enough. So our margin top will be 13 or 16. Yeah, so 16 would be enough. And let's give it a background color. So our background color will be, so our background color will be this color code. So let's give it a padding. So padding will be 10 pixel, maybe 6 pixel, and let's give it a border radius, which is 10 pixel. Okay, so let's go back, and our this username color, or our open your masses text color, will be black. So here let's give it a background color. So our background color will be black. So in our main contact container, I'm going to change this color. Instead of this black, I'm going to write it white color. Go in our search bar for contact class, and here I'm going to increase my width. So our width will be 20 pixel, and let's give it a margin left, 8 pixel, and let's write our color, which is white. Now if I type something, it says so white color. Now I'm going to copy this. Okay, so let's go back in our content, contact.css, and in our user container, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a margin top. Let's paste this again and again. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a class name, and let's give it a class name which is users detail container. Let's copy this, and let's give it a height which is maybe 100 or 90 VH. Overflow hidden, overflow Y, which is a scroll, and we got our scroll functionality. Then I'm going to remove this height, remove this chat container from here, and let's go now contact. And after this div, I'm going to write my chat container, and let's go now contact.css. And here what I'm going to do is let's write our display will be flex. Let's go in our chat container. I'm going to create one div, and inside this div I'm going to create another div. Let's write our image, let's write our username, and let's give it a style. So our display will be flex, and I'm going to import my image. So let's go now contact.css, and I'm going to copy this image, and let's use this image. So let's give it a class name. So our class name will be user profile. Let's copy this, and let's write our width will be 45 pixel, and our height will be 45 pixel, and let's write our border radius, which is 50%. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is let's go in our chat container, and here let's write our margin left, which is 10 pixel or maybe 40 pixel, and let's give it a margin top 20 pixel, I mean 10 or 10 pixel. Let's give it a background color. So our background color will be okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my width 100 pc. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we need to write a padding. Padding will be 10 pixel. Let's write a border radius, which is again 10 pixel. Or maybe padding is, let's write a 5 pixel. Yeah, so now let's go in our text, and let's give it a style. So let's write a margin top, which is 10 pixel, and let's write a margin left 10 pixel, And after this div, I'm going to create another div, and inside this div what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a chat conversation. I need to create another div, and inside this div I'm going to write my image, write a same class name for this image. Okay, so now let's write a p tag, and inside this p tag, so let's write our lorem. Let's save this. Okay, so let's go back and let's write our display will be flex, align item will be center, let's write a margin left 10 pixel or 30 pixel. Let's give it a background color. I'm going to copy this background color. Let's give it a margin top 10 pixel, and let's write a border radius 10 pixel. Okay, so I got a problem here. So let's go in this div, and instead of width 100 pc, what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease this and make it a 60 pc, or not a 60, let's write a 70. So 70 would be enough. So let's write our text align, which is a start. Okay, so now I'm going to change this image size. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do is I need to change this class id set user profile. Let's save this. Let's go now chat container.css. Let's give it a width, which is 40 pixel, height 40 pixel, border radius, which is 50%, and our object feed will be cover. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a margin left, which is 10 pixel. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase this width and height. Okay, so height will be maybe 37. Okay, so height 37 would be enough. Okay, so let's go back, and here let's write our margin left, which is 10 pixel. Let's give it a width. Okay, let's give it a width, which is 30 pixel. Okay, so that was our, not 30, let's make it a 40. Okay, so that was our max width. Okay, so now let's copy this. Okay, so we also need to write a margin top. Let's write a margin top, which is 10 pixel. Now I'm going to copy this, Okay, so let's give it a class name. So our class name will be MSC container. Let's save this and let's copy this and let's go back in our CSS. So let's give it height. So our height will be 60 VH. So let's write an overflow which is hidden. So after this div, I'm going to create a new div, and inside this div, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my input. Let's save this. Okay, so this is my input. So let's give it a class name. So our class name will be MSC input. Okay, so now let's copy this and let's go in our CSS. So let's give it a width. So width will be 50 VH. I mean 50 PC. Okay, so let's write a margin right, which is 30 pixel. Okay, so 30 pixel is not enough, so what I'm going to do is let's write 300 pixel. Okay, so 380 pixel would be enough maybe. So now let's give it a height. So our height will be, let's give it a margin top, which is 10 pixel. Okay, so let's give it a class name, and our class name will be MSC sender container. Let's copy this. So let's give it a background color. Background color will be this. So let's give it a margin top, which is 10 pixel or maybe 20 pixel. Okay, and let's give it a padding. Padding will be 5 pixel. And let's write a placeholder. Okay, so after this input, what I'm going to do is let's write our button and let's write a send. So let's give it a display, which is a flex. Okay, so now let's go back in our CSS, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this margin right. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so let's write a margin left, which is 10 pixel or 20 or 30 pixel. Yeah, so 30 pixel would be enough. I'm going to remove this height, and also I'm going to remove this width. So let's remove this width right now. Okay, so now let's write a 40, yeah, so 40 pixel PC would be enough. So now I'm going to write a padding which is 6 pixel. Okay, so let's write a 10 pixel. Okay, so here I'm going to write my width. Let's write a 50. Okay, so not 50, let's write a 60 or 70 pixel. Yeah, not a 60, yeah, 70 pixel. Yeah, so 70 pixel, and our input width will be 50 pixel or 60 pixel. Yeah, so now let's go in our button and let's give it a class name. So our class name will be msgbutton button. Let's save this, and here let's write our width. So our width will be 130 pixel, and let's give it a height. So our height will be 10, not a 10, let's write a 30, yeah, so 30 pixel. And let's write a margin top which is a 10 pixel or maybe 20 pixel, 15 pixel, I don't know. Okay, so we also need to add a height. Let's write a 33, let's write 38. Now let's write a margin top. Yeah, so now let's write a border which is none, and our background color. Okay, so our background color will be green, and let's write our color. So our color will be white. Oh, sorry for that, we don't need this bracket. White. So let's go in our input, message input, and let's give it a background color. So our background color will be black, and let's write a border which is none, and let's write a margin top which is 0 pixel. And yeah, so everything is done here. We can, okay, so let's go back, and here let's write a color. So our color will be white. Yeah, so if I write this, yeah, so everything is done for our input. Okay, so maybe we need this button in a center. Okay, so let's go back in our chat container, and here I'm going to write a 0, and let's write a border radius which is a 10 pixel, and message send container, let's write a border radius which is a 10 pixel. Everything is done for our chat container. Okay, so if our friends send a message, we need to show this message into a left side, which is this is our friend message, and we need to write when we write and send message, we need to show our own message into a right side. Okay, so let's go back, and here when we send a message, we don't need to show our profile image here. Okay, so I'm going to remove this profile image, And then what we need to do, let's write a margin left, which is a 400 pixel, or minus 400 pixel, I don't know. Yeah, so not a 400 but maybe a 700 pixel, not a 7 but 6 maybe. Yeah, 640 or 650 pixel. Okay, so this is our message, this is our own message, and this is our friend message. Okay, we need to show message in this way. I'm going to copy this and let's replace. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, instead of this style, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a class name and give it a style in our CSS. Okay, so let's give it a class name and let's write a msz. Let's go in our chat container. So in our chat container, what I'm going to do is, let's copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Let's save this and let's go back. I'm going to remove this. Let's save this and let's see. Yeah, so everything has worked. Let's copy this. Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing for this text. Okay, so let's give it a class name. So our class name will be msz txt. Let's copy this. Let's save this and let's see. Yeah, so now let's copy this, and instead of this code I'm going to place it this, and let's remove this and paste it here. Let's remove this and paste it here. Okay, so you can also do the same thing for this div. So right now I'm not going to do that because it's a boring process, so do it by yourself. Now we need to build our backend server. So now we need to first make a models. Okay, so let's go in our models, and here what I'm going to do is let's write a yummy message.js. I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and let's remove this. And instead of post schema, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a message schema. Message schema, and let's write a message schema. And inside this schema, what we need to do is first we need to write a chat users. So let's write a type which is array. So in our chat users, what we need to do is we need to store two user ID. So we need to store a sender ID and receiver ID into this chat users array. Okay, and after that what we need to do is we need to write require which is true, and after that we need to write our message. So let's write a type which is a string. Require will be true, and then we need to write a sender ID. Let's write a type which is a mongos dot schema dot types dot object ID. Okay, so let's write a object ID, and let's write a require will be true, and after that here we need to write our timestamps true. Okay, so this is our message schema. So now let's write a create message. So let's write a router dot let's write a const new message message. Let's write await, and let's import our message module and message dot create, and let's write a message, and also we need to write a message set users. Let's write a from and to. So in our from we need to store our sender ID, and to mean receiver ID. Okay, and let's write a sender mean this from. So let's return our restored status 200 JSON, and here we need to return our new message. Okay, so here let's write a try and catch. So in our try we need to do this, and in our catch we need to return restored status 500.json, and let's write a enter null server error. Okay, so we create our message. Now we need to fetch our message. So let's write a get message or get chat message, and let's write a user one ID and user two ID. Let's save this. So the first user ID is our sender user ID, and the second is receiver user ID. Okay, so here we got a 2/, so let's delete this, and now let's remove this code, and instead of this post we need to write a get, and instead of this verification token I'm going to remove this verify token. Then let's write a const from require dot params dot use id1, I mean reuser id1. This is our sender ID, and const to let's write a require dot params dot use id2. So this is our receiver use ID. Okay, then we need to write a const new message. Oh wait, let's write a message dot find. So let's write a chat user. So we need to check. So if our sender ID, which means from and to, are matched in our user array, or if they have a message, we need to return a message, else we need to return a null value. Okay, let's write a const all message, and let's write a new message. So we need to write a map msg, and also dot we need to sort our message. So let's try to update it at 1. Okay, so let's return if this sender ID and our from user ID both are same, then we need to return a true value, else we need to return a false value. So let's write a easy message and msg dot sorry for that msg dot message. Let's save this. Now we need to return our message. So let's write a story status JSON. Let's write all messages. Let's save this. Now we need to write or try and catch. So in our catch we need to return restore status 500 dot JSON, and let's write internal server error. Let's save this. So now let's go back in our Thunder client and try to create our message. This is our API point and this is our JSON content. Now I'm going to send this, and now we got our message. So we successfully send a message to this user. Okay, so now let's try to fetch our message. So this is our API point to fetch our user ID. This is our sender and this is our receiver ID. Okay, so if I send this, we got our 1 2 3 4 messages. So in a 4 messages, these 3 messages, we send these 3 messages from ourselves, and this 1 message is from our receiver ID. Okay, so we can successfully send a message and we can successfully receive our message. So our backend side was done. So let's try to connect our front end and backend. Okay, so first we need to fetch our real user here. Okay, so now let's go in our front end, now contact. So here what I'm going to do is let's write a use effect. So let's go in our home page first. So where is our home page? So in our home page we need to go in our left bar. So I'm going to copy this. Now let's paste it here, and I'm going to copy this. So let's write a late ID. So let's import our use selector, and we also need to import our axuse. Let's save this. Users, and let's write a set users. Let's save this, and let's go in our front end, and let's open our console. Okay, so we need to write a capital T, and yeah, so we got our use ID and our access token. Okay, console.log users, and instead of YLW, I'm going to write a following, and instead of user, I'm going to write a post. Let's save this, and now we got our four following users. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is let's write on click. Let's write a const. So let's write a console.log and e, and now let's open our console again. If I click this, okay, so let's go back. So we got our user ID. So we just click Suman profile, and if I click this Kazi profile, we need to receive this Kazi user ID in our console. Okay, so let's click this, and I got a user ID which is Kazi user ID. Okay, so here let's write a const current chat user, and let's write a set current chat user. So now what we need to do is I'm going to pass this current users. So let's write a current chat users. So what I just did is I just passed this current chat user in our chat container. Okay, so let's go in our chat container first. Let's save this, and let's go in our chat container, and here let's write a console.log, and I'm going to write a current chat user. Okay, so I got an error, I don't know why. So let's go in our console. User.map is not a function. Okay, so let's go back. So maybe we don't need this. If I click this Kazi, I got this Kazi user detail in our chat container. So let's write a current chat user dot profile, and instead of user ID, chat user dot username. Let's save this and let's see. So let's remove this console. So if I click this Kazi, we are in a Kazi chat page. So let's go in our contact. So now what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to fetch my message. Okay, so now let's import our use effect and our axios or all of this thing. So let's write again message. Let's remove this API. So let's write a current chat dot ID. Let's save this. Save message. Let's save this. Okay, so now let's write a console.log and try to see the message. So let's open our console. So we just got a message. So if I click this Kazi, so here what I'm going to do is let's write a current chat underscore ID. Let's save this. So if I click this summon, so this user doesn't have any message with a Lisa. And if I click this Kazi, the Kazi doesn't have any message with Lisa. And if I click this summon, this user have a full message with this Lisa. Okay, let's write a message dot map. So now what I'm going to do is let's write item dot message. Let's save this. So these are our four messages. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one div. So if item dot my self is called to true, or is called to false, then we need to write this, else we need to write this message. Let's remove this text, and instead of This text I'm going to write item. This is our own message, and this is a message from this Suman user. Okay, so let's write a current chat user dot profile. Let's copy this chat user profile, and let's go now CSS chat user profile, and instead of width 50, I'm going to write a 45. Yeah, so if I click this Suman, the Suman user doesn't have any message with Lisa. This Kaj user doesn't have a message with Lisa, and this Suman have these messages with Lisa. So we successfully got our contact, or we successfully got our following user, and we also got a message from this user. So now we need to build a feature to send a message. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do is let's go now input, and let's write on change, and let's write e dot target dot value. Let's copy this. Let's write const input message, and set input message, and let's write a use state. Okay, so what else we need to do? So let's write a const send msg. Let's write a fetch. So let's write our method. Let's copy this. On click, send a message. So now what I'm going to do is let's write a const, and let's write a message, and inside this, what I'm going to do is let's write a myself, which is true, and let's write a message, which is input message. And after this, here what I'm going to do is let's write a set message. Let's write a message dot concat, and we need to write out, oh, so sorry for that, we need to write this message. Let's save this. Okay, so now let's refresh this, and now let's write testing. If I click this, I got this message as a testing, and I can send more message. Let's refresh this, and Okay, so I got a problem here because I need to show this text after these messages. I need to show this message after these messages. Okay, so maybe I did something wrong in our backend. So let's go in our backend side. Maybe I just did some mistake here. Here, instead of -1, I'm going to remove this minus, and then let's go back. And now you can see here we got our data in a correct format. So if I click something like this is message, and if I send this, I got this text, and if I refresh this, you can see here this is message text after these text. Okay, so now let's go in our front end again, and here what I'm going to do is let's go in our content, I mean contact. So here what I need to do is let's write if our current chat user is not is called blank, then we need to write this, else we need to write first we need to make one div, and let's write open your chat with your friends. Okay, or let's write open your chat message with your friend. Okay, let's save this. So now let's refresh this, and now you can see here we gotta open your chat message with your friend, and if I click this we are in a message page. Okay, so instead of chat message, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to open your message tab to chat with friend. Let's save this, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of the style here. Okay, so let's give it a style. So first let's write a margin left which is 20 pixel, or maybe 40 pixel. So let's write a front size which is 30 pixel, and now I'm going to write my color. So our color will be pink, or I don't know. Okay, so pink color is not suitable, so let's change this color. Yeah, so I'm going to copy this, and instead of pink I'm going to paste this color ID, and let's remove this. Okay, so if I click this we are in our message base. Okay, so now what we need to do is when I write something and when I send the message, we need to scroll this and show this text. Okay, so if I send this message, our message was sent. So our message was sent, but we didn't see the message. So in order to see our message, we need to scroll this, and then we can see a message. So when I type something and when I click something and when I send, we need to automatically scroll this and show a new message at the end of this container, message or chat container. Okay, here what we need to do is, let's write a use effect first. Let's write a message. So now what we need to do is, let's write a const scroll ref or use ref ref, and inside this use effect what we need to do is, we need to write a scroll ref dot current dot or scroll into view, and let's write a behavior which is smooth. Now let's save this, and now let's go in our message here, and here what I'm going to do is, so here what I'm going to do is, let's write a ref and let's write a let's go and copy this and paste it here. Let's save this. Okay, so if I click and if I go inside this user chat tab, if I click this, you can see here we automatically scroll. So let's refresh this, and when I click this, you can see here we automatically scroll and we just saw a new message. And if I, let's go here, and if I write this is new message, so when I send this message, we need to scroll this and we need to show a new message after this text. Okay, so if I send this, you can see here our page was automatically scrolled and we just saw a new message. Okay, so everything is done. So in order to make instant chat applications, we need to implement our Circuit IO. So let's copy this, and in a backend I'm going to write a yarn add Circuit IO. Okay, so our Circuit IO was installed successfully. So let's go in our index.js, and here what I'm going to do is, let's write a const and let's write a server. Let's save this, and here what I'm going to do is, let's write const soc socket, and let's write a require Circuit IO. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, let's write a const IO, and let's write a first we need to use our curves. Let's write origin. So our origin will be this port number, and let's write a credential which is true. So after this IO, let's write a global dot online users. Let's write a new map. So what is global online users is called the new map, and let's write io dot on hold out all online user. Let's write a connection circuit. So let's write a global dot chat circuit is called to our socket. now what we need to do is we need to add our user ID. Okay, so in order to do that, what I'm going to do is let's write a circuit dot on. So circuit dot on, and here we need to write a add user, and we need a user ID, and we got this user ID from our front end. Okay, so let's write a online users dot set ID and circuit dot ID. So after this circuit, after we successfully add our user, what we need to do is we need to send a message. Okay, so let's write a circuit dot on, and let's write a send msg data. So let's write const send user, send user circuit, and let's write a online user dot get our data dot to. So if our sender user circuit, if we have sender user circuit data, then what we need to do is we need to write a circuit dot to. Let's write a sender user circuit dot emit, and we need to emit our message as mscreci receive data dot message. So that's it. So our backend side was finished. So now let's go in our front end and implement our circuit IO. Okay, so in our front end, what we need to do is we need to again install our circuit IO client. Circuit IO client. Let's copy this, and let's write a yarn add circuit IO client. Okay, so our client circuit IO install. So now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to import our circuit IO. So let's import. Okay, so now what we need to do is, so let's use our use effect. Let's write if our current chat user is not is called null, it's called to null or blank. So our current chat is not is called to null, then what we need to do is we need to write a, okay, so let's go here and let's write a SOC circuit, and let's write a use ref, and let's write a circuit dot current is equal to IO. So here what we need to do is we need to write our backend server, okay, which means we need to write our backend port number. I mean, not here but here. And after adding our backend port, what we need to do is we need to write a circuit dot current dot emit. Let's write add, and let's go in our backend, and I'm going to copy this. Okay, so this name, or our backend side, this name should be same. If one word, if you did a mistake here, or if you write one wrong word, your circuit doesn't work out. Okay, so remember, this name and this name should be same. And after that we need to write our login user ID. Okay, so let's write our ID. So this is our login user ID, and let's write our ID. Let's save this, and let's write a console.log circuit, and let's go in our console. Let's open console. Now you can see here our circuit was connected. Okay, so let's close this console, and now let's do other things. So here, before before post our message or before send our message, we need to write something using circuit. Okay, so let's write a circuit dot current dot emit, and let's go in our backend again. And let's write a to current chat user underscore ID. Let's write a from ID, and in our message we need to write an input message. Let's save this. Okay, so I got an error, which is parse error token unexpected. Okay, yeah. So after that what we need to do is, so let's go here, and so now let's write a const, and let's write a arrival message, and let's write a set arrival message, and let's write a use state, and default will be null. Okay, and here what we need to do is let's use our use effect. So let's write a if circuit dot current, then what we need to do is we need to write a circuit dot current dot on, and here let's go in our backend again, and I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and let's write msg, and let's write a set arrival message, which is a false, and message is called msg. Sorry for that, msg. And also I'm going to write a console.log msg. Let's write our arrival message, And after that, I'm going to use a use effect again, and let's write arrival message and set message pre, and let's try to set arrival. So here what we just did is, from here we will receive our message and we set our message using set arrival message. So we got a message from our circuit, from so from here we got our message and we set our message here, and whenever new message arrive we will run this use effect again and again. Let's save this, and now what I'm going to do is let's open our another browser. Okay, so now you can see here Lisa sent a message to Suman, and Suman got a message here. Okay, so if I write something testing, and if I send this, and let's go back, and now you can see here we got our message from Suman. And let's open our console. Okay, so if I write something like hey Suman, how are you man, and if I try to send a message, I just send a message, and let's go in our another browser, and now you can see here Suman got a message from Lisa, and Lisa say, hey Suman, how are you? And now Suman will reply, well, fine, what about you, Lisa? And if I send this, and now you can see here we got a message from Suman. Okay, so our chat feature was done. So let's go in our backend. Maybe you didn't understand some of the thing in our backend, so let's go in our backend. So in our global.online here, what we did is we just collect online friends or online user, and then here from here we connect our circuit, and from here we just add our user ID, and from here we just send a message to a user, and from this image we just receive our message.